The time has come to cast a replay. That's right. We're casting a replay. I promise there will be Tism. Well, I don't think I need to tell you that there will be Tism. So, in the top left corner, we have roller skates. In the top right corner, we have you. And don't look at that, it's silly. And we have 3 Crow, aka Kian, in the bottom left. So, obviously, roller skates is most certainly playing in this. And Pronogo is going to have a very clean, well-balanced match. And Shambler is going to single-mindedly hunt him down and steal his gas. Oh my god, here it comes. Tism has awoken. The spinning has commenced. It's drill after drill. It's hard to tell who's winning, but I think Shambler is getting destroyed. There's just so much rejittering. Popo has them on the ropes, constantly decolliding him. Wasn't even able to get hardly even any kills in, looks like. 6. And Shambler chooses to disengage. Pronogo does not chase him out of the base, he just calmly allows him to leave. There's this awkward moment where they shook hands, let bygones be bygones. So, Kian's playing a very peaceful game here. Not really too alarmed. As Shambler prepares for round 2, presumably. There are 2 Zeths going across the map. Roller skates with an 8. Absolutely, most certainly is actually roller skates. Is building a fulcrum. So far, Keen is doing very standard stuff. As far as he knows, this is just a standard 1v1 match, and the Zeths just calmly run past him and run into the resource line to start tickling. Angry tickling. An extra Zeth has come in at the cost of 2 others. Tickling is en route. 1 Mason goes down. Oh, aggressive. This is fucking stupid. Oh. Oh, absolutely annihilated. And the Cyprian came over to offer emotional support. There you go. This bullshit's finally done with. Kian will move around some of his workers and try to recover his blood pressure. Prono goes semi 6 pool. I mean, it was a 6 pool, right? He built his first Zeths when he had 6 workers. How could there ever be any doubt? Shambler has tactically repositioned to the high yields, just like you would in that one StarCraft 2 map, because there's high yield in this. Roller Skates, who is most certainly Roller Skates, has built a lodestone, presumably terrified of all sorts of things like vassals, Kabbalists, and didn't really want to build missile turrets because, well, might be useful for run-bys like what Kian just dealt with. Otherwise, very pensively farming. Very much a Vine Boon moment here. Slowly Vine booming the way towards tier 2, actually. Popo just goes straight to the expansion. Little does he realize that everybody else in the map is basically going to be playing Farmville for a while. Extremely minimal defenses off of Kian here. Just still the non-obstructing wall here. Going straight to Star Pad. There's another anchor hiding down here. Very passive. Shambler
has left the server.
I have no idea what he's doing. I need to now mute vent because I forgot. And also going for a ministry first. Roller Skates is being very greedy this game, that's for sure. Meanwhile, this is straight to spray the Zorkins. Straight to spray the Zorkins. In the chat we have, hey, it's me, Cuckney, with, that's 4, not 3 Ys. Don't know about that. That is a 3rd anchor. That is 3. That is 3. This is very similar build to another game we had just prior to this one of Kian versus Pronogo. It was a very good, clean game on Main Street. Absolutely no cheese or shenanigans whatsoever. There is now a treasury coming in. Very, very, very greedy of you, Lawler Skates. I don't know what it is you have planned, but to me it seems a little greedy, banking right up to that tier 2. Hell, why not? There's some lobsters placed diligently around here, again, ever aware of possible shenanigans. When you do dumb shit like this, you always have to be aware of possible shenanigans. But of course, tacking the expansions kind of opens you up to further shenanigans. They don't necessarily need to brave what is probably also a non-obstructing wall, because building obstructing walls in this is difficult. I do not know what the fuck Shambler is planning, but you know, Shambler is too high level for the likes of us. He's thinking in an entirely different dimension. Meanwhile, nobody's attacking Popo Cockney 2023. Some defenses over here, again, ever so wary of drops, sending out the treasury. I thought treasuries required tier 2, but I guess that got changed again? Question mark? I don't know, don't ask me questions. I barely know what this project's even about. So there's another anchor coming. Definitely a very feat-heavy builds from Kian here. But Kian's behind that tier 2 race. He's also behind on bases as well. But he's trying to get that under control. Little did he realize that Shambler is also making feat. He's got some kind of like 8D chess going on here. You can't make Corey's in tier 1 anymore, so he just added in the extra ministry just for the extra worker queue, I imagine here. Goodness gracious, I have no idea what the fuck's going on in this goddamn game. Pebo, other than the initial tickling, is completely free to do whatever he wants, being an S-rank player in iCup and Fish, having won countless tournaments. There's absolutely no concern in him with this game at all. Shambler is building a U-shape of stockades here. No shenanigans whatsoever in mind. The lone wraith is going to go in that direction. Here comes the Z's. We have a chance of crashing the replay. As that does happen, it'll be a fast mantle because, well, Roller Skates really wanted to try out the fast mantle. Surely it will go well, Roller Skates. Things as, well, there was a plan and it died. The Atlas no longer makes a fountainhead. It's the 2.5 is gone and 3.5 is gone. That means you could do stuff like max out palladiums and build mantles. So the question is how good are mantle units early on the game? Well, Roller Skates is under the assumption that cat facts, such as, for example, an interesting cat fact being that male cats' penises are actually barbed. They may be better now. That was the presumption. But actually, they haven't been changed at all. They're just available more early on. So, cat facts, it is. And a couple idle workers here. It happens. That's how things go. Meanwhile, Popo has amassed a very large number of Quasilisks. One of the most terrifying units in the game. Aggressively tickling. Kian's other Wraith has also died, confirming tier 2 for this player as well. Kian is in an incredibly precarious and dangerous position. But one thing he is certainly not short on is feet. Meanwhile, there are... Well, you know how it is. There's Shambler. Oh, the ticklers are en route. They have found Shambler. Oh, they haven't found Shambler. Where is he? And off he goes. We will never get to see the glorious onslaught of mass tickles versus a handful of mavericks. Nope, the tickles are on way to deal with catbacks. Catbacks have 9 range and shoot multiple times and only have a single armor penetration and not much damage. There is, however, some Goliaths in that anchor that are offering some amount of resistance. cat facts are slowly munching. Another cat facts has arrived, as well as a madrigal. Aggressive tickling is occurring, and he's trying to morph some of them into Lyrilisks, which, well, they do things right. Well, they got the madrigal, but the cat facts have 3 armor. The Lyrilisks don't really do quite enough damage, though, so not really that healthy after that. Some Lycisilisks have arrived, and they're here to deny those extra mantles, preventing the uniformity of 3. So those explode into a glorious fireball, and now things are in quite of a pickle. Roller Skates has no detection. Gosh darn it, guess have to call in some detection. So detection is en route, leading to the murder of 2 additional Lycisilisks. So that was extraordinarily goofy. There is a star pad coming to get detection, because it does actually exist. Perdigo reconsiders his posture in life as he floats nearly 2,000 minerals. Also, there's a Talos over here constructing a ministry and then promptly forgetting about it. Whereas filling it up with sentinels at this point in time would actually be a wise idea. Instead, Charlotte has arrived and is going to be tickled. Off the Talos goes. And Kian did come down here and stomp this. It's not like Shambler really had a lot besides a handful of Mavericks, and Pippo's going to discover Shambler's various orifices. Meanwhile, there is tickling here. This space was forgotten about. Too many other things going on. Sentinels, rebuilding the mantles, cat-backed Durandals that are reasonably strong. They have a penis gun. You can even see right on the name there, it says penis gun. And this isn't necessary. Pippo's over here to prevent the accosting of the Talos. It died. So, cat facts are exploring around, thinking maybe Pippo was south. Not actually having scouted because, well, scouting's for losers. Shambler is maybe now thinking about going and actually re-securing his old main base. Don't really know what's going on over there. Pippo is maybe going to come down here and try to stomp out this wall of sentinels and their odds and ends, while his expertly placed Hatrosk that was built over here for some reason, because this is in the way, will slowly amass. Pippo's got some money. It was rather late for Pippo. The benzos were probably starting to hit. And Shambler has no detection either, but he also doesn't have an atlas to make up for that. So various workers die absolutely disgusting deaths, and the ministry is forced to face the wrath of the Izirkors on its little waltz over there somewhere. Meanwhile, Pippo has tickled the autism hive and has acquired autism. As Lawler Skates continues to do not too much money, but slowly amassing resources because they were actually built the 3rd mantle. Instead, also Tired and Vine Booming, really. So that reservoir is getting annihilated, and this expansion here is idle, and this expansion here is slowly doing stuff. Meanwhile, Kian, being left to his devices this entire time, is starting to amass Wyverns, which earned him some Ascension wins, and Valkyries, which, well, they've always been fairly strong. So, Mulas have arrived here, and they did take quite a lot of damage from the cat facts, but there was too many of them, they just annihilated the cat facts. Lawler Skates is amassing defenses, and the ministry is under attack, and that's terrible. The Hydralisks dive into the sentinels and die a disgusting death, but there's only a few watchdogs here, so it's not very good. There's another ministry, and some additional structures being built, including another mantle. Some workers went over there to idle. Additional cat facts have arrived. The Ramses is only 100 health. It's not actually really that durable. In fact, the Madcap, I think, is very defensively similar to it. And it does, however, have a line trace weapon, but line trace weapons in general have been reduced in effectiveness, what with a Cyprian Penetration changes, I believe, is project-wide now. So, kind of hoping that the Ramses will help with some line traces. But, not really. So, Melisks have 2 armor pen. They're actually quite good against catbacks. Catbacks, you definitely need to have a lot of them to do too much about this. Individually, they're really, really terrible. But, locked into the mantle we are. Ministries, chilling out, cross-map mining operations begin. Assorted objects are idling around. Pronogo actually wants nothing more to do than to murder Lawler Skates at this period, but Shambler is out to murder Pronogo. And so the murdering commences as various Melisks appear and annihilate all of his wyverns. Wyverns die en masse. Again, 3 armor, not really that useful against Melisk. Melisks fly into Shambler's base and encounter a lot of Cyprians. Well, that didn't go too well. Secret Shambler main is being rebuilt as the ministry is being repaired. Lots and lots of workers. You can never have too many workers. 120 at the moment. Probably a little bit of oversaturation going on here and there. It's okay. Shambler is also catching up in workers, but he's definitely got some oversaturation. Really desperately needs to get some money. Meanwhile, the Melisks are flying around, encountering random workers, and heckling them. Pronogo doesn't really know what to do, but he knows he wants to murder Lawler Skates, who absolutely is Lawler Skates and has to be murdered because Pronogo is all about beating the mentally deficient. Doesn't care about anything else in this game other than picking on those lesser than him. Some might regard him as a bully. But, operating under the presumption that there is actual fighting going on the rest of the map, small probes are made in here with the hopes that additional Ramses will be the key necessary to get rid of the Melisks. Oh! A Volk has arrived. Now, Volks fire multiple attacks and have no armor penetration. Now, this is one of the engagements I didn't get quite to see all of. But you can see that Melisks were taking some hits here. Yeah, they're taking lots of attacks from the Ramses, but didn't really do too much good. Almost got them. They're very, 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 very low. But did not. With all the Ramses that was firing at them with line trace, if the penetration changes had not been done, they absolutely would have annihilated them for sure. But the penetration changes are really the big one there. Lawler Skates has got some money. Contemplating what to spend that money on. Will it be a rush straight to tier 3? May as well. Now, Kian has been amassing Volks and Wyverns this entire time, kind of single-mindedly. Actually very lightly defended, mind you. Previously, prior to all the Wyverns reaching this exceptional quantity of 23, Catfax and Ramses may have been able to actually lay siege to him and deal very, very crippling damage to him just by taking out those expansions. But Keen at this point was a peaceful neighbor, unbeknownst to the rest of the map. Pebo is sitting on 5 bases, with the 5th one not being active at the moment, and is probably the most powerful player overall. But he does not have tier 3 yet. It is coming. No decisive motion has been made, other than Shambler largely writing himself out of the game. It's only a matter of time until Popo comes and steps on him and exacts revenge. But will Popo focus on trying to murder Lawler Skates first? There is a number of units being amassed here. Keen is quite content just to sit back and mass nothing but Wyverns and Volks. No tier 3, he doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. Go straight for Volks and Wyverns. Hell, why not? Seraph's en route for Roller Skates now to try to solve the Melisk problem. Melisks are not quite as easily destroyed by Irradiate now, since it is an ability that requires you to actually hit things as opposed to a point and click. And it only deals 50 damage, but it spreads all over the place, just like real aids. There is Shambler Ministry is flying around. The Melisks diverted over to the nuke area and then came back. And for a peaceful moment, Roller Skates and Pronogo focus on annihilating that ministry. Meanwhile, Kian has appeared, only just briefly contemplating existence, wondering, do I need more wyverns? 35 wyverns, each wyvern having 3 armor and 200 health. Shambler screams as he strikes out at you. He cries out in pain as he strikes you. But no striking going on at the moment, just a slight minor annoyance. As Seraphs and additional Volks, Catfax, and other odds and ends are being amassed. Also, Shambler's favorite, the Diadem, is en route. Now this aura from the Seraph, I believe it shreds armor. So, it's actually quite nice to have against the Melisks, not just because of Irradiate. Some nanite assemblies are being built. Hippogriffs aren't quite the unstoppable killing machines they once were, but they aren't too bad. Not on the table though, probably gonna go for something like Centaurus. Phobos is more AoE, ever aware of the fact that Kian is very likely just amassing wyverns in the background. Always something on the back of your mind, but considering that perhaps, you know... Uh-oh. That there would be more fighting on the map than there really is. So, the Ministry is attempting to spot for the Diadem. The Melisks just want the Ministry. The Melisks aids. Pevo contemplated pulling back. Killed the Anseal like instantly. Really wanted that Seraph. Well, I don't know really what kind of a trade that was. Pronogo begs Kian over chat to save him. That's what happens at this point. So, 40 wyverns emerge. That's a lot of wyverns. One of them pretty much instantly dies. The Volks charge forth, and the wyverns actually end up blocking all the shots for the other Volks. But these took a lot of damage. There just wasn't enough to actually stop them. Roller Skates is in danger. How will he respond to this? Well, there is no way to actually respond. There's nothing you can do. Most you can try to do is use the forces you've got to kill as many Volks as you can. They do fly into these madrigals, which in their sieged form they have no armor penetration, but they did do quite a bit of damage to the Volks in spite of that. The Daedala is fucked no matter what. No amount of static defense can stop this. But there are Seraphs. And some well-placed shit here. You see the Volks are not protecting. And in fact manages to irradiate pretty much every single wyvern at that point. The assemblies are being annihilated. Kian's attention gets a little divided. The Volks actually are going home, leaving the wyverns to get annihilated by the 3 Gorgons and of course irradiate. The hard-on colliders that were just built are also getting annihilated. By the way, Pronogo's shit all died terribly to the exact same Cyprians. Catfax arrive, the Ramses arrive, and scant amounts of damage are done to the remaining wyverns, who are then destroyed by those 3 Gorgons. Well, Roller Skates lost pretty much everything except for the Atlas, which the Volks could have killed if they stuck around. Now there's just a horde of heavily wounded Volks that are going to have to get healed by some Shamans, and another stack of Wyverns. All the economy is dead except for the one base. All the aggression on Popo is gone, leaving Popo to try to deal with the Shambler menace that has proven a thorn in his side for quite some time. And begging Kian to help assist him. Kian lended his assistance, and hypothetically could have won there, maybe, or at least destroyed Roller Skates if he had committed. At the very least, he could have committed to killing the Nanite Assembly, which, other than the Atlas, is one of the more valuable structures sitting in the area. While the Nanite Assembly was being repaired, the Hard-On Collider is being built, and Roller Skates has the arduous task of ascending workers off of mostly depleted bases. I want you to watch this ministry. Oh, Toss Girls have arisen as Pernigo is finally starting to use some tier 3 here. Oh, and he's fucking dead. No words. It was an accident. I was very tempted to Alta 4 at that point, TBH. So there's still a lot of Wyverns and some Volks. Kian, now that he has assisted Pernigo in his holy quest to annihilate not Roller Skates, is coming over to try to actually win the game. Which means destroying the player that's actually a threat. Well, even the Toss Girls are having some problems with Mass Cyprians. They remain Giga Chads. They fly straight into Pernigo's completely undefended base. Pernigo sends over everything he has to try to defeat it. But those Volks have been healed up. There's a lot of them still. They did not all die. 29. Oh, it's a disaster. Oh my gosh. Out into the defenses, but the Spiritists aren't going to do too much against that many Volks. They bounce, not splash. Pernigo is in dire straits. He screams as he strikes at Shambler. Oh, it's a train wreck. Some Cascathalores are over here. Additional wounded Toss Girls and their Milas cohorts arrive to try to finish the job. Roller Skates is on the prowl for, well, Kian bases actually. Various units fly into Popo's base, taking fairly insignificant damage from the defenses, all things considered. A little more tankier than the Terran defenses. Gorgons just kind of like looking around, they found even more Volks. And even though they all die, it is important intelligence that they acquire about the state of Kian's base, his status on the map, and how the rest of the map is going. Not aware at the moment that there is a... Pernigo's entire army gets annihilated. Shambler makes secret messages to Roller Skates to grant him sanctuary as Popo was fuming, frothing with rage. This Shambler was still alive. After all the cheeky shit and horrible shenanigans that he had been put through, not the least of which, the least signifying of which, getting all the shit nuked to that silo. And so asylum is granted to Shambler's few units, the ministry that escapes through Kian's base, and a handful of other structures. Most importantly, the Nanite Assembly is assembling some Magnetars. Magnetars have proven highly resourceful and useful in other periods of the game. Unbeknownst to Roller Skates, calm and collected as he is, with his no resources, and hordes and hordes and hordes and hordes of gas. Kian is just wiping his ass with Pernigo's remains, as Pernigo does his absolute best to annihilate what remains of Shambler, but unfortunately, what remains of Shambler is hidden behind the tenuous bosom, supple, tender, and all-warming of Roller Skates. There will be 4 Magnitars soon, coming over this one nanite assembly, the most valuable structure in this entire base, as Magnitars are the only thing that can possibly save this game. This Cascasolaura's A move towards Kian, attempting to spank him, but they are spanked. Absolutely spanked. Kian moves down here. His forces have suffered some damage from the various defenses and the toss scrolls, but otherwise they're not too bad. The Alcagelisks, in a fair amount, have appeared dealing a fair amount of damage to the Volks, but unfortunately not in great enough numbers. If the Spirited Colonies or some other stack of units were here to help support them, you know, some other kinds of units, some of the toss girls or something like that had not died horribly to the silo, Popo could have actually possibly defeated that air army right there. They're very, 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 very low. And Popo rage quits. Shambler wins. Hidden back here, doing what he does best, peacefully constructing ministries and chilling out. Kian returns to base, annihilating what remains of Popo other than the Hatrosk he leaves building, and will go to repair. One final push to win the game is all he needs, as Lolar Skates currently has something along the lines of 3,000 gas and no way to really deplete it. There isn't anything really gas intensive. Saving enough minerals for tier 3 is out of the question, and multitasking is for losers. So all that can really happen at this point is setting up to deterrence, building a flimsy Alamo, and waiting for the coming onslaught, while building some ground units, a little pitter-pattering of them, for the inevitable Holy Crusade that would come after if this one gamble actually pays off. So this expansion is absolutely annihilated, all the worker count just plummeted, Ministry is absolutely erased, and the Magnetar's position for the ultimate onslaught. 31 kills, 50 kills, 1 kill, 11 kill, yanked in by the hips, absolutely annihilated. Kian, in absolute bewilderment and confusion, the onslaught of Lolar Skates marches across the map, preparing to grasp his booty. The onslaught slowly comes here, annihilating the last of Popo's vestige. The last shred of Popo to remain on this map, finally erased by Lolar Skates, the Holy Warrior. And Kian, knowing that he can't do anything against raw cat facts, succumbs. And Shambler succumbs. Shambler won. He toughed it out until the very end and came out on top. What a lad, the ultimate gamble, the Bong Cloud to his adjacent expansion for no actual legitimate gain. The Holy Crusade in defense against non-stop Mulisks and harassment. The Silo, strategically placed, cunning, one final devastating blow just to add injury to insult, preparing Pronogo for the holy reception of Kian. And Lolar Skates, who is most certainly not myself, biding time, doing absolutely nothing of any tangible value in the entire game, all the way up until 4 Magnetars annihilated like nearly 100 units within the span of 5 to 6 seconds. And that is why FFAs are Tism. Yes, Pernago is begging for Kian to kill me, just begging him. But Kian was foiled by the last-minute name change to Lolar Skates, and actually legitimately thought that it was Lolar Skates who was in this game for a while, until Pronogo finally yelled at him enough to awaken him from his slumber, and so it began. There was a few things I noted in this game that the Catfax and Ramses were not doing too well against the Mulisks. It was probably because I wasn't aware just how bad the penetration changes were actually going to change that fight. Additional Catfax or Ramses may have pushed them in my favor, and I didn't realize it, but I'm pretty sure you can stuff Catfax inside of an anchor, so you can have barb information on the fly, which would have most certainly helped them survive a little bit longer. Also, just sticking thousands of missile turrets in that area and walling it up like a good Terran would have also assisted as well. But Seraphs helped even out that playing field just a little bit. Back row, weak as always, absolutely terrible. Didn't really do a good job in most of this game whatsoever. And Pernagau and Shambler had a slap fit, and it was really quite entertaining. But Kian made one critical mistake, and that was not destroying that nanite assembly. That fateful mistake really costed him. Although it's kind of arguable if he would have been able to destroy it because, well, he would have needed to focus fire it down and make that call. He couldn't have really known. He never really had imagined that that was going to turn into magnetars that just instantly give his entire fleet. But that is precisely what happened. That one gamble. That said, there were also 2 Minotaurs and still several Seraphs, as well as some other air units and some anti-ground. So even if the Magnetars hadn't been completely decisive, there was still a chance to hold out anyways. Whatever the case was, those ground units were most certainly more than a match for what Kian had in terms of defenses. And there was plenty of room to bounce off of to reclaim the map. I think Shambler was present in that fight. I'm not sure, it happened so fast. But, well, it was really quite entertaining anyways. Mystery Meat very much enjoyed that.